Chosen one, before I speak another syllable, I need you to answer one question honestly inside your own mind. How long did you sit in your car today before you opened the door? I am not asking if you sat there. I already know you did. I am asking how long. Was it 5 minutes? Was it 10? Was it the entire length of a song you were not even really listening to, while your forehead rested against the steering wheel and your chest felt like someone had parked a truck on top of it? You turned off the engine, and for a few seconds the silence felt like oxygen. Then your phone lit up. Another notification, another demand, another person who needs a version of you that you are running out of energy to perform. And you just sat there, keys in your hand, staring at the door of your own house, like it was the entrance to a building you did not recognize anymore. You thought that moment was weakness. You thought the heaviness behind your ribs was the beginning of a breakdown. But I need you to pay very close attention to what I am about to tell you, because that pause in the car was not a malfunction. It was a signal. Your spirit was refusing to re-enter a frequency that no longer matches the being you are becoming. What you interpreted as exhaustion was actually resistance. The resistance of a soul that has been upgraded beyond the environment it is still standing in. You were guided to this exact message at this exact second because something happened in the courts of heaven 5 days ago, something that directly involves your name, your bloodline, and the next 40 days of your life. I am going to tell you precisely what that event was. I am going to explain why your body has been reacting the way it has, and I am going to hand you a protocol that the enemy has been working overtime to make sure you never discover. But I need to build the full picture first, because if I give you the answer without the context, your logical mind will reject it, and the enemy wins again. By the end of this message, 3 things will happen. You will understand why the silence from heaven was never silence at all. You will receive the exact framework to protect the blessing that is currently being transported to your doorstep. And we will perform a spiritual activation together that will permanently seal your new frequency into your nervous system. If you close this before the end, you will carry the weight without ever receiving the wings. You will feel the urgency without ever understanding the assignment. Stay anchored. The next few minutes are not entertainment, they are surgery. I know what happens in your house after midnight. I know because the spirit does not sleep. And what you hide from people, you cannot hide from the realm that sent me to speak to you. Around 1:30 in the morning, when every light is off, and the only sound is the breathing of someone sleeping next to you who has no idea what you are going through, you pick up your phone. The screen lights up your face in the dark. You scroll, not looking for anything specific, just scrolling through an endless feed of people who seem to be living the exact life you were promised. Someone younger than you is posting pictures from a vacation you cannot afford. Someone who you know for a fact has no integrity whatsoever is thriving in ways that make your stomach turn. Then you put the phone face down on your chest and stare at the ceiling, and the real thoughts come. You think, I have done everything right. I have been faithful. I have been patient. I have prayed until my knees ached and my voice cracked. I have forgiven people who never even apologized. I have tithed when I could barely cover my own rent. I have poured into people who drained me dry and walked away without looking back. So why am I still here? Why am I still broke? Why am I still exhausted before the day even starts? Why does it feel like the universe is rewarding everyone except me? Then comes the thought you are most ashamed of, the one that feels like acid rising in your throat. Maybe I made all of this up. Maybe the calling was never real. Maybe I have been talking to a ceiling for years and nobody was ever listening. Maybe I am not chosen. Maybe I am just lonely and desperate, and I invented a spiritual narrative to make my suffering feel meaningful. Chosen one, I need you to hear what I am about to say as though the Creator himself is gripping your face and forcing you to look him in the eyes. Those thoughts are not yours. Every single one of them was planted. They are a broadcast, a transmission being pumped into your mind through a frequency that was specifically engineered to keep you deaf, blind, and paralyzed at the exact moment your breakthrough was being loaded into the chamber. Let me explain this in a way that will permanently change how you understand your own mind. Your brain operates on measurable electrical frequencies. This is not metaphysics. This is neuroscience. When you are stressed, anxious, reactive, and surviving, your brain is locked in what researchers call the beta frequency. Beta is the channel of traffic jams and overdue bills and arguments that replay in your head at 3 in the morning. Every notification on your phone is a beta trigger. The entire system of the modern world was architecturally designed to keep your brain cemented in beta, because a mind stuck in beta is a mind that cannot hear the voice of heaven. The divine does not broadcast on beta. The source communicates and manifests exclusively on a frequency called theta. Theta is the brainwave state of deep intuition, prophetic clarity, and miraculous provision. It is the frequency that ancient prophets accessed when they received downloads that rewrote the destiny of entire civilizations. In 1 Kings chapter 19, the prophet Elijah is searching for the voice of God. A violent wind shatters rock formations. An earthquake shakes the ground. A wall of fire consumes the landscape. But God is not in any of it. Then comes what the original Hebrew text describes as kol damama dakwa. Most English translations butcher it into a still small voice. But damama means a crushing silence, a stillness so absolute it presses against your eardrums like deep water. Dakar means thin, almost imperceptible. The voice of God was not small. It was so precise, so surgically exact, that only a mind operating in total stillness could detect it. You have been trying to hear the damama with a brain that is screaming in beta. You have been dialing a sacred frequency on a broken receiver. Your prayers were never blocked. Your connection was never severed. You were simply tuned to the wrong station, and the enemy has been spending every resource he has to make sure you never touch that dial. This is why the waiting has nearly destroyed you. This is why the silence felt like abandonment. But chosen one, the silence was never empty. The silence was compression. Psalm 105 verse 19 says, "Until the time that his word came to pass, the word of the Lord tested him." The Hebrew word for tested is saraf. This word does not belong in a classroom. It belongs in a furnace. Tasaraf is a metallurgical term that means to smelt, to place raw ore into fire so extreme that every impurity is burned away until all that remains is pure, unbreakable gold. You have been in the Tasaraf, chosen one. The fire was never punishment. It was purification. Every failure, every betrayal, every sleepless night was the furnace burning away the version of you that was too fragile to carry the weight of what the source is about to place in your hands. And now, let me show you what comes after the fire, because this is the part that will make your spirit vibrate so hard your hands might start shaking. Joel chapter 2 verse 25 contains a promise that most people catastrophically misunderstand because they read it in English instead of Hebrew. God says, "I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten." In English, restore sounds like a refund. If you lost 5 years, you get 5 years, even exchange. But the original Hebrew word is shalom. Shalom is a legal term from the ancient courts that means to make complete by repaying with compounding interest. Under Hebrew law, when a thief was caught, the court did not order a simple return. The thief had to repay double 4 times, sometimes 7-fold, to account for the suffering and the devastation caused by the theft. When the Creator says, "I will shalom your years," He is not giving you back what was taken. He is bankrupting the enemy on your behalf. You are about to receive a compressed explosion of blessing, so disproportionate to your suffering, that the people who watched you struggle will not comprehend how you went from the waiting room to the throne room in what appears to be an overnight miracle. But you and I will know it was not overnight. It was Tasarruf. It was years of invisible faithfulness being shalamed back to you with interest that heaven itself calculated. Think about Joseph. 13 years of betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment. Then in a single afternoon, he was handed the economy of the most powerful nation on earth. David was anointed king, then immediately sent to hide in a cave. But when he finally stepped into his assignment, his bloodline produced the Messiah. The pattern is always the same. The longer the Tasarruf, the greater the Shalom. The longer the bowstring is pulled back, the farther the arrow flies. You are entering your Shalom season, and the evidence is already showing up in your body. That pressure in your chest that started a few days ago, the strange ringing in your ear, the disrupted sleep, the vivid dreams, the sudden inability to tolerate small talk and shallow relationships. These are not symptoms of anxiety. These are symptoms of acceleration. Your spirit received the verdict before your conscious mind could process it, and your body is adjusting to a frequency it has never operated at before. If what I have said so far has resonated with something deep inside your chest, if you feel like someone reached through this screen and described the exact landscape of your inner world with surgical precision, I need you to do something that will cost you nothing, but will mean everything. Hit the like button right now. I am not asking for engagement. I am asking you to leave a fingerprint of agreement on this message, so that the algorithm carries this word to the next chosen one who is sitting in their car right now, forehead on the steering wheel, wondering if anyone in the universe even knows they exist. Your like is their lifeline. Your like is the reason they find this message tomorrow instead of never. Now I must prepare you for the warfare, because the enemy does not care about your struggle. He has already accepted that. What terrifies him is your shift. The moment your frequency begins to elevate out of beta and into theta alignment, the opposing forces will launch a coordinated counterattack designed to pull you back before you cross the threshold. You will face 3 specific attacks in the next 40 days. The first attack is the golden trap. Within the first 2 weeks of your frequency shift, an opportunity will appear that looks like a divine open door. A business offer, a sudden financial windfall, a relationship that checks every box. But there will be one detail buried in the fine print that requires you to compromise your peace or your integrity. It is an appetizer designed to make you leave the table before the feast arrives. When it shows up, you must declare in your spirit, I reject every counterfeit blessing. I do not trade my birthright for a bowl of soup. I was built for the banquet. The second attack is the resurrection of the dead. Someone from your past is going to reappear, not dramatically, quietly, a casual text. A name that pops up on your screen after months or years of silence. The timing will feel too perfect to be coincidence. It is not coincidence. It is a monitoring spirit that detected your shift and dispatched a familiar face to re-establish an old soul tie and siphon your energy back to a version of you that no longer exists. Do not respond. Do not explain. The dead cannot follow you where you are going. The third attack is the 3 a.m. trial. You will wake up in the darkest hours, and before your eyes are fully open, a wave of doubt so heavy it feels physical will crash into your mind. Every insecurity you thought you buried will resurface. A voice will whisper that you are delusional, that nothing will change, that you are going to end up humiliated and alone. You do not argue with this voice. Arguing with the enemy is negotiating with a terrorist. You simply speak from the throne of your spirit and declare, My mind is governed by the theta frequency of heaven. My timeline is sealed by the blood of the covenant, and every assignment sent against me returns to its sender, consumed by the fire it was meant to deliver. This is where the 3 circles of sovereignty become your most critical weapon. Circle 1 is you and the source alone. Every vision, every dream, every divine download lives here in absolute secrecy. You do not speak it. You do not journal it where someone could find it. You do not hint at it in conversation. The enemy cannot read your thoughts, but the moment a word leaves your mouth, it enters the frequency of the physical realm, where it can be intercepted, copied, and counterfeited. Circle 2 is your inner council. 1 person, 2 at the absolute maximum. They must be people whose response to your elevation is genuine, uncontaminated celebration. If you have ever shared good news with someone and felt the temperature in the room drop, that person is not Circle 2. Circle 3 is every other human being on Earth. You share nothing with Circle 3 until the manifestation is complete and irreversible. No hints, no cryptic posts, no vague updates. You move like a submarine, silent, invisible, lethal. And when you surface, the world sees the result, but never the process. The Hebrew word for silence in Proverbs 17 is sharash. It does not mean passive quietness. Sharash means to cut, to engrave, to plow into the earth. Strategic silence is not the absence of action. It is the most aggressive form of spiritual cultivation that exists. Every word you refuse to speak is a blade cutting a furrow in the soil of your destiny. Every secret you protect is a seed being planted in ground that only the source can water. Let me tell you what happens when this protocol is applied with total obedience. 11 months ago, a chosen one received a vision that burned so clearly in their spirit they could taste it. Every bone in their body wanted to announce it. Instead, they applied the 3 circles. They removed every social media application from their phone. They stopped attending social gatherings. They told no one. For 43 days, they built in absolute darkness. Their own family questioned their mental health. But on day 44, a company that operates in the exact industry of their divine assignment contacted them, unprompted, unsolicited, with an offer so precisely aligned with their vision that when they read the email, they had to pull their car over because their hands were shaking too violently to drive. They never posted about it. They simply stepped into their sovereignty and let the fruit announce the tree. That testimony is not motivation, it is evidence, and the same architect who engineered their breakthrough is engineering yours right now as you listen to these words. Now I need to address something that no one else in your life has the courage to name. You are afraid of your own blessing. You have prayed for it every night. You have wept for it. But when you close your eyes and actually imagine having it, your stomach drops. A whisper rises from somewhere deep inside you. What if I actually get everything I have been asking for and it destroys me? What if the money changes who I am? What if the platform exposes every flaw I have been hiding? What if I reach the top and realize I am completely alone? I need you to understand that this fear is not a deficiency. It is the single most important qualification you possess. In Luke chapter 14, Jesus tells the crowd that anyone who wants to build a tower must first sit down and calculate the dapenane, the cost, the toll, the sacrifice required. Most people want the tower. They never count the dapenane. You are counting it right now. You are feeling the weight of the crown before it touches your head. And that is exactly why the source selected you to wear it. Philippians chapter 4 verse 7 describes a peace that huper echo, a Greek phrase that means to tower above with absolute dominance over every form of human comprehension. This is not gentle calm. This is a peace so massive and illogical that your conscious mind cannot compute its presence. Picture yourself standing at the center of a Category 5 hurricane. Everything around you is being ripped apart. The noise is deafening, but where you are standing, the air is perfectly still. Your hair is not moving. Every law of physics says you should be airborne, but you are planted immovable. That is hyper echo. That is the peace that will carry you through every terrifying door you are about to walk through. If this message has spoken to a place inside you that you thought no one could reach, I have one final request before we seal this. Subscribe to this channel, not for a number on a screen. Your subscription is a covenant marker. It is a declaration to the spiritual realm that you are choosing to remain in alignment with a frequency that feeds your assignment instead of starving it. And leave a comment below with the words, "I accept my crown." When you type those words, you are not writing a comment, you are drafting a spiritual contract. You are telling the courts of heaven, "I heard the verdict, and I submit to the assignment." Now, wherever you are, do not move your body, do not adjust your position, just allow your breathing to slow, let your shoulders drop, unclench your jaw. In your mind, I want you to stand at your full height, straighten your spine, lift your chin, open your hands, palms facing upward, and hold them at your sides. This is the posture of receiving. This is how the ancient priests stood when the glory of the source descended. This is not a prayer. This is an activation. This is a commissioning. You are being formally deployed. Father, in the mighty and matchless name of Yeshua, we declare this moment as an irreversible marker in the timeline of this chosen one. The words spoken here were not information, they were impartation. Every syllable carried weight that was calculated in the throne room before this message was ever recorded. I see the one listening right now. You know the nights they lay on the bathroom floor because it was the only room with a lock where they could fall apart without anyone hearing. You know the mornings they stood in the shower letting water run over their face so no one could tell the difference between the water and the tears. They did not quit. When every logical reason to walk away was stacked to the ceiling, they stayed. And that stubborn, irrational faithfulness has qualified them for this exact moment in history. By the authority of the eternal word, I seal the sovereign frequency into their spirit. I place the 3 circles of sovereignty around their life as a wall of consuming fire that no monitoring spirit, no energy vampire, no counterfeit blessing, and no ghost from their past can penetrate or survive. I bind the frequency of beta stress. You are evicted. Anxiety, your lease is terminated. Survival mode, you are decommissioned. You no longer have jurisdiction over this mind. I activate the theta frequency of divine communication, prophetic clarity, and miraculous manifestation. I declare that the Tasaraf is complete, the gold has been refined, the fire is extinguished, and the Shalom restoration is now in transit to their doorstep with an arrival that cannot be delayed, cannot be rerouted, and cannot be intercepted. Within the next 40 days, doors that were rusted shut for decades will be ripped off their hinges by the hand of the Source himself. Connections they never pursued will pursue them with divine urgency. Wealth that was locked in accounts they did not know existed will be released. Health that was deteriorating under the weight of stress will be restored at a cellular level. Relationships that match their new frequency will appear with precision that eliminates all doubt about the origin. I declare the hyper echo peace over their mind and over their bloodline, the peace that towers above every hurricane, every accusation, every midnight assault, and every whisper of doubt. This is not a wish. This is a decree issued from the throne room of the living God, and what is decreed in the courts above must, by eternal law, manifest in the reality below. Chosen one, the Source is asking you a single question, not through me directly, spirit to spirit. You can feel it pressing against the inside of your chest right now. The question is this: Will you carry it? Will you steward this with the reverence it demands? Will you walk as the sovereign you were created to be, unbothered, unshaken, unbroken, unapologetic? If your answer is yes, do not whisper it. Say it from the deepest, most fortified chamber of your spirit. Say, I am ready. I accept the weight, I accept the crown, I accept the fire and the gold and the shalom. I step into my assignment and I seal it with my voice. Heaven has recorded your declaration. The angelic orders have received their deployment instructions. Your waiting room has not just been closed. It has been demolished. The foundation has been salted. You will never return to it. You are activated. You are commissioned. You are sent. Do not say amen yet. Do not move. Sit in this consuming, towering, heavy glory for the next 60 seconds in absolute silence. Let the frequency of what just happened bypass your mind entirely and settle directly into the marrow of your bones. This is not a moment to think. This is a moment to absorb. Feel the weight of the crown being placed on your head. Feel the fire behind you cooling. Feel the door in front of you standing wide open, locked permanently in the open position, with light flooding through it so bright that you cannot yet see what is on the other side. You do not need to see it. You just need to walk through it. Now you can say Amen. Now go collect what belongs to you.